Hey there, it's week 20 of season 4 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is The Songfesters. Barney?
We're having choir practice, and I sing a tenor solo, and then the choir director, Mr. Nasters, gives me and Sharon some hints on our singing, and then he says we're going to take a break until 5 o'clock this afternoon.
And then the audience sees Mr. Masters take Andy off to the side and say, Barney can't sing. He's a terrible singer. We can't have him singing this tenor solo. I'm going to have to find someone to replace him as a soloist. And Andy says, that would break Barney's heart to be replaced just 5 days before the concert. And John Masters says, I'm sorry, I've got to think of the choir first.
And outside, I tell Andy, I was really on in there. There's nothing better than knowing that you're perfect. My voice was surging out of my body like Niagara Falls coming onto that cliff in Rochester, New York. My voice was so strong and full, I could hear the vibrations in my head. And then I go to my voice lesson with Miss Eleanor Poultice, and I tell her about my solo, and she says I'm going to be as successful as Leonard Blush. He has a radio show now. And then we practice breathing and walnuts, and then sing the song, Now is the Month of May.
And then you come in the courthouse singing, me, they, real loud. You tell Andy it's your voice box and larynx calisthenic.
Yeah, I tell him I'm a big bundle of singing town, and I say that Miss Poultice compared me to Leonard Blush. And he says he don't know who that is, and I say Leonard Blush, Y-L-R-D, Mount Pilot. Boy, do you live in a world of your own. He does all the vocals on the Ethel Page organ recital. What I'm trying to tell you, Andy, is that it's just entirely possible that the show business lightning may strike me any day now. And then Andy sits me down, and he breaks it to me that John Masters is thinking about replacing me as tenor soloist, although he hasn't found a replacement yet. And I tell Andy, well, you just let John Masters trot them out, and I'll take them one at a time. And then going back to choir practice, we say hey to Gunnar. He's changing the tire on Mr. Masters' car in front of the rehearsal hall.
And when you all start singing in the rehearsal hall, the window's open, and you hear Gomer singing along at the same song beautifully while he's working outside.
And I hear him, and I say, not bad. Certainly a potential there. It's crude, but it's, I'd say 5 years away from performance level. Look, if you want to put Gomer in the chorus, it's fine with me. Put him behind some girls. He won't intrude.
And then you go home, and Andy and Mr. Masters bring Gomer back in and have him sing some more. And Mr. Masters says that's it. Gomer is now the soloist, and Barney is not. Andy, you go tell Barney he's out.
So Andy sits me down, and he says sometimes life has rough spots. And I say, well, now nobody knows that better than I do. Heaven knows I've had my share. But you know something? I wouldn't trade those rough spots for all the money in the world. And you know why? Every rough spot I've gone through has added a muscle to my emotional constitution. And Andy says, I'm glad to hear you say that, because Gomer is going to be the soloist. And I say, I'm fine with that, and I walk out. But then I go back to the empty rehearsal hall, and I sing a little of the solo again. I'm pretty sad.
And then Gomer sees you. He had started to go back in the rehearsal hall to get his music that he'd forgotten after rehearsing again, but you don't see him. And then on concert day, he says he's lost his singing voice.
So they come get me at my singing lesson, and they ask me to fill in, and I say I don't want to. You all don't seem to understand. I'm not a plaything that you can just play with and then toss to one side. I've got some pride. But Miss Poultice says I'd be letting her down if I didn't do it. And then right before the concert, Gomer lets it slip that he was thanking his voice problem because he knew how much the solo meant to me. So come solo time, neither of us knows who should sing, so finally all 3 of us sing. Andy, Gomer, and I. And Miss Poultice is real proud. She wants to develop us as a singing trio, but we say no.
We'll see you next week for episode 21.